Welcome back to the Malty Man Cave here on location in the Hilton Head Resorts. I'm here with my beautiful family, and we brought way too much whiskey and bought way too much whiskey. In fact, I think I'm a little bit in the doghouse for my purchases. But tonight, we have something for you special that my cousin John was able to pick up. Where was it, Atlanta?
Atlanta.
So, something we both have been wanting to try for a long time, and it's the Bruichladdich Octomore Scottish Barley. This one comes in at a whopping 167 parts per million phenol levels, which is known for being what? The most heavily peated whiskey in the world. And I will tell you, trying this, do you feel like this tastes or smells like the most heavily peated whiskey you've ever had?
Not really.
Which is amazing.
Not to say that it's not peated, because it obviously is.
Yeah, definitely peated. But for you, like, wasn't this not smooth?
Very smooth.
So smooth. What do you've had this, right?
Smooth.
So smooth. So this comes at, let's see, what's the ABV at?
57, I believe?
Yep, 57%.
57.0.
ABV. Do we know about the chill filtering?
It's not chill filtered.
Yeah. And no color added, obviously.
I believe it says it on there. Yeah.
So, anyways, you have anything you want to say about this?
Well, we should probably mention this is batch or version 6.1. So Octomore comes out in different version numbers on a regular basis. Usually the .1 bottlings are the bourbon barrel matured versions, and sometimes I don't remember exactly how it works. I think that 0.2 bottlings are usually some kind of wine cask finish or sherry matured or something like that, and then they have occasional like 6.3, like 0.3 ones, and they've even done a 0.4 one.
Have you heard good reviews about the sherry?
I've heard good reviews about most. Well, yeah, actually, I've heard that usually the wine or sherry finishes or maturations are even better.
Really?
That's what I've heard. I haven't tried it.
Kind of like oogie.
Yeah, could be. It's hard to know when. I mean, this is just very different than like Ardbeg 10.
Yeah.
Like a standard heavily peated whiskey. It's, the peat is obviously there, and it's a young whiskey. This is only a 5-year-old whiskey, which is very young.
Which is crazy for how good this is.
But it is incredible
So
how
good.
complex it is, considering how young it is, and that's because of the peat level.
Go. So, without further ado, Tim, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yep, so name's Tim, and just now starting to get into the Scotch. I've been only drinking it for about a year now, so all the fancy terms, I have no idea what the hell they're talking about. But
I feel like I need to get a hat. Like the missing link.
You're missing a hat.
I'm not cool enough.
Get a lady one.
Then Dave, you want to introduce yourself? Actually, this guy knows a lot about beer. He's kind of a big wig. I'll tell you, let you say a little ditty about Freewell.
Yeah, David Birdie, Freewell Brewing Company. Yeah, I brew beer for a living, and I've been drinking whiskey for a long time.
And Freewell Brewery makes freaking amazing stuff. Is it in Percy,
Indeed.
Pennsylvania?
Indeed
It's actually
it
in
is.
Percy. So, without further ado, let's get into some whiskey.
Do I get? I've been on your show before,
You don't need to introduce.
but do I get to introduce myself anyway? I'm John. I've been on the Multi-Man Cave once before, and go back and watch that video. It was the Abelauer 12-year non-chill filtered. I also do a whiskey review website, meadmule.com. Check it out, meademule.com. I'll put a comment in this video. Yeah, feel free to check it out.
It's a really good website.
Instagram, Twitter as well. And he finally is signing up for Instagram, so hopefully he'll start posting some whiskey
Multi-Man
pictures there
Cave
too.
coming on Instagram soon. Keep you posted. Alright, Tim. Now, just so you know, they both have had bourbon and whiskey before, but, Tim and Dave would not necessarily say that they're like aficionados. So, this is going to be their kind of amateur attempt at trying to smell, taste, and give some notes and scores. So, what do you get on those, if anything?
I mean, the first thing that stands out to me, not being a very avid whiskey drinker, is just definitely the smoke. I can smell it right off the bat. Maybe even a little cinnamon. Just maybe because I'm having nightmares and flashbacks to drinking too much Fireball and Jameson and shitty whiskey. So,
Which this is not, but you can definitely
No.
get hints of different stuff in it from your memory bank.
yeah, this by far beats any whiskey that I used to drink on a nightly basis. But I would say cinnamon is probably the minor note, and just the smoke is overwhelming.
What do you got on the nose?
Me?
Yeah, I was gonna go to you.
Yeah, you did say. I get a lot there. There's some fruit, some light fruit, some berries. There's definitely butterscotch. I mean, you mentioned butterscotch when we were drinking this before, so I don't want to steal your thunder, but I mean, there's definitely salted butterscotch. Toffee, caramel, all those similar types of notes, but especially butterscotch. I get some berries. I mean, the peat smoke is obviously there, and one of the things, if you don't drink a lot of heavily peated whiskeys, the peat smoke really is. I mean, when I first started drinking heavily peated whiskeys, the peat smoke was pretty overwhelming. That really is all you taste and smell at first, and eventually you just kind of stop noticing that it's there. But obviously it is there. I had a few other things that I was thinking about earlier. I'm trying to remember. Peanuts. I get a little bit of peanuts. Just general nuts. Barley sugar. I mean, the oak is there, surprisingly, for it being only 5 years old. It's really... I think it's my favorite nose on any heavily peated whiskey I've ever tried.
Definitely.
It's delicious.
Fantastic.
It just smells amazing. And usually when it comes to heavily peated Isla whiskeys, it's the palate that's the best part. I love Lagavulin, I love Lafroig, I love Ardbeg, I like Lagavulin. But Lafroig and Ardbeg especially, I've loved those distilleries for a long time. Those are the two whiskeys that really got me into being a Scotch lover. But what I've always loved about them more is the palate and the finish, more than the nose. The nose is the best part. Not that the palate's bad either.
I don't understand, there's normally rough edges on young whiskeys, and this is
It is
smooth.
shocking that there really are no serious rough edges on this. It's just super complex.
So,
Chocolate malt. That's the other thing I was getting before.
from Signet? Oh, you haven't had the Signet yet. The chocolate malt.
I haven't had Signet, but there's a chocolatiness there that smells almost like a malted chocolate milkshake almost.
It's like Whoppers. You're at
Almost
Whoppers?
like Whoppers, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, of course, yeah, love Whoppers.
So I get same thing. It's almost like you're freaking on a beach and salted caramel butterscotch pudding while you just have sea spray spraying. It's so good. I get it's nowhere near what Lafroig is with the adhesive kind of iodine notes, but it's a really mild version of that.
Yeah.
And we're overflowing with butterscotch and vanilla on top of it, but it's kind of a little bit there, almost like the adhesive peat you get with Lafroig. I get a little bit of floral. I said before in many of my reviews, I'm not real good at picking out different florals. I guess my best bet would be lilies. It's a little menthol. It's not really minty, just almost menthol in the background.
I agree. There's some menthol there.
Again, just that delicious peat, which is way smoother than I ever thought it would be. So, you get any notes on the nose? You smell anything?
First off, we need a little more first.
You downed yours already. Oh my god.
There's still a little while there,
Come on, Fadoo. Sorry, it's not my whiskey.
See, I get some strong honey right up front.
Yeah.
I just stuck my nose in the beehive on it.
Yeah, that's definitely
I say right after that, I feel like I got bit right in the nose by that bee.
that. From the bee?
And then my nose caught on fire. Smoke started coming up.
Maybe he's a natural at this.
And then
He didn't want to do the review.
some
Now he's like doing the best job of all of
the
us.
butterscotch does come out after that, after the fire's gone out, and then a butterscotch kind of flavoring fills the atmosphere. It feels so good that it feels so bad that it feels so good again.
Since let's go back, let's do a round robin back so you can do the palate. See what we get on the taste.
Starts off as a way back to the beehive. I just stuck my nose in. I feel the bees swarming around, but it feels they're not stinging either. Swarming, and it's peaceful. And then they sting all the way down. But it's pleasant.
Very good. You get anything else?
A sense of euphoria as you breathe in as you inhale after you've swallowed the first sip. Euphoria sets in, like it tingles. That's good.
So on the palate, I get white pepper. I get a little bit of oak, like the tannins. You get again that kind of like mild adhesive peat, which then kind of fades into just that salty butterscotch vanilla caramel goodness, which I do not understand how it is so dang smooth for only 5 years. The cask on this just has to be like the absolute best. Like, I wonder where, do you know where Bruichladdich sources some of their,
I don't know.
you know, I think Lefroy gets like all their cask from Maker's Mark.
Yeah, I've heard that.
What should I do? Trying to think if I get anything else on this. It's like mouth-watering, but then it also like kind of like dries at the end. It's almost like baby powder in my mouth at the end. But very, very good stuff. What do you get on the palate?
Well, the peat smoke is certainly there, but again, yeah, it's not as overwhelming as you would expect. Vanilla, for sure. I get a little more floral aspects. You mentioned florals on the nose. I get it more in the palate.
Really?
Just a slight touch of heather and rose, maybe even lavender. Not that I've ever eaten lavender, but it.
Maybe that's why
I smelled lavender and it
Yeah,
tasted
that's
I
why-
like
lavender aftertaste there.
Maybe that's why I said baby powder, because the type of baby powder I use is lavender and chamomile.
well, there you
Yeah,
go.
that's why.
There you go.
Novocaine. They get Novocaine.
Gotta stay
A few
fresh.
minutes later.
Gotta stay fresh with the baby powder at all times. Lots of man cave.
There's definitely more of that salted caramel, salted butterscotch type of feel. Oak, again, surprising amount of oakiness
Yeah, for
for its age. Quite a lot of vanilla, really. Almost like vanilla and chocolate. Like I'm thinking of like one of those, like a candy that's like a chocolate that's got marshmallow and caramel inside. You know, something like that.
almost
get
like
a little
the
bit
dark.
of
You heard the dark Milky Ways, and it has like
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah, that's
isn't that
a
like a
fair
white
comparison.
substance? Like
Yes.
it's almost like marshmallow in the dark.
Yeah, yeah.
Milk chocolate, Milky Way.
The Midnights.
Midnight.
Yeah, midnights.
Yeah,
Yeah, I get that for sure.
Yeah, I get a little bit of that.
Anything else you got?
I think that's pretty. Well, that's everything that's coming to mind at the moment.
Take us home, Tim. Take us home, baby.
Oh, that lasts for like a split second, that midnight Milky Way you're talking about.
You taste it?
A split second, maybe. Possibly a sort of. Let's see what you're saying.
It's a little more prominent if you let it roll around your mouth for a while.
My mouth is numb from that. I feel like I just got
Well, it's-
Novocaine.
It's got some nice kick
high
to it.
ABV. It's powerful stuff.
It's got some nice kick to it.
See, I definitely got the, of course, smoke, and of course, I even got a flavor of oak right off the bat. But it wasn't until you guys started talking about butterscotch, vanilla, mostly the butterscotch. As soon as you mentioned it, it just kind of
Yeah.
bring it out. Yep. And will say I didn't get any cinnamon on the palate. So it had a smell of it to me, but as soon as I kind of tasted it, I didn't really get that. It kind of was taken over by butterscotch and more of a saltier taste.
One thing I don't know what made me think of this. Tim said this, and I don't know if this is true. You might know, 'cause I know you're pretty well read.
Tim, not this Tim.
Yeah,
the other Tim.
Tim Scariano, who we were hoping was going to be in the reviews, but they had to leave early. And we kept putting this off because we kept on having fun late at night, and then we didn't feel like doing reviews after maybe drinking a little bit more than we should. But he actually said something that they were like doing trials, like setting up barrels. Because I'm trying to make like how the heck does a 5-year-old whiskey get this smooth? And he actually said that they were doing trials where they were sending like barrels of Scotch whiskey up like with different astronauts that were going like up on like space journeys or whatever. Like somehow that they.
Well, I've heard about like Ardbeg's done that.
Have they really?
Yeah,
to see if it would
Ardbeg
make the
has-
aging go faster,
Well,
or what was
you know,
the
I
purpose?
don't know. I think the purpose was to sell whiskey.
Like this has been in outer space. You got.
Well, you know, they've done. Ardbeg has done their whole supernova releases, which are.
Is that what that was?
No, that's not what it actually is. It's not actually the whiskey that went up in the space shuttle, but it is. The marketing is related to it. Supernova is Ardbeg's version of a very heavily peated
Yeah.
whiskey like this. So they, you know, Octomore is typically known as being the most heavily peated, but Ardbeg Supernova is right up there too. It's much higher than the normal Ardbeg peat levels.
Gotcha.
I don't know if Bruichladdich has done anything similar or not.
That's the only way I can wrap my mind around how a 5-year-old whiskey is that smooth. They had to have done some crazy
Sent it into
crap to it.
space.
They must have sent it into space or something to get it to mature faster because I have no idea. So, without further ado, let's go around and give it a malted man cave mark. So, anywhere from 0 out of 100, how would you rate this, Tim?
Whew. I don't know what the premise here for the grading scale is.
Whatever you.
But I will say,
And it can be, you know, where you're at in your journey. So, if this is like one of the best whiskeys, maybe it'd be like really high.
yeah. So
So maybe for John or I, it might be a little bit lower because we've tried a lot more.
yeah.
Although I'm a pretty liberal scorer, according to John too. Although I know that about myself.
I would say this is probably one of the best I've ever had. I mean, like I said, I've only been drinking for just about a year. Drinking scotch for just about a year. And I would say it's probably top 3 I've ever had. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a score of a 91.
Oh.
Snuck in that extra point there.
What do you got, John?
Yeah, I would love this stuff. It's terrific. I'm right in that same ballpark. I was thinking 92.
Yeah. I was 91 out of 100 for me. 91, almost a 92. But I'm getting self-conscious about how liberal I am with my scoring.
Which is funny because you
I
score
know.
stuff higher
I'm
than
doing
me.
that on purpose. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I was actually thinking 91 the whole time. 91 out of 100, almost a 92. This is freaking good stuff. I told him, I almost, I just now, as many of you know, I've been getting into peated whiskeys because did not like it at first, but now I love it. Springbank got me into it, then Highland Park, and then, you know, now I love Ardbeg. I love Ardbeg 10, Ugadal. Apparently, I like all the Bruichladdich that are peated. So, this is amazing. And I was kind of afraid to get it at first because when they said it's like the most heavily peated whiskey out there, I was like, it's gonna be like gnawing on like a tree and smoke, and there's gonna be no flavor to it. But that is not the case. Like there's so much creamy, salted vanilla, butterscotch mixed with all kinds of other goodness. So, 91 out of 100.
Well, I'm more of a bourbon guy, but do like a good peated scotch. So I will say, for my rating, I'll say out of a peated scotch, I'll give it a 95 out of 100 for a peated scotch.
Snap.
Whiskey.
Go out and get you some, guys. Sláinte. Cheers.
Sláinte.
Cheers. Turn off. Where's that? We're kind of trapped in here. Can't reach it.